Now, while the course focuses on AWS and Snowflake, we will definitely try to ensure that your foundations are strong, because with a strong foundation you can go ahead and uh, learn something else. Because today in 2024, with such a fast changing technical ecosystem around us, it is actually very important to learn how to learn. Yeah, because if you are not having your foundations strong, then it is going to be difficult for you, because AWS and Snowflake are just, or Databricks or Azure, these are just tools and technologies which will be there today, and maybe after 5 years they'll evolve. Now, we definitely have to learn a tool, but at the same time, we will have to get our fundamentals very clear. Now, when I talk about fundamentals, Python is one of the fundamental tool, and SQL, because without Python and SQL, the whole world of data engineering is incomplete, right? So we will have to learn the fundamentals and then start learning about AWS and Snowflake, because that's our focus area. Yeah. Technology stack that we are going to focus on. We're going to learn about AWS. We're going to learn about EMR, Glue, and Redshift. Not only that, I'm going to come to the presentation deck. There's one more presentation where we are going to dive deep into the subject. But for the time being, just be aware that we are going to learn about EMR, Redshift, and Glue. We're going to look at SQL. We're going to learn fundamentals of SQL. We're going to learn advanced SQL, because whenever we talk about data, if we do not talk SQL, the whole chapter of data is incomplete. We will learn about Python. We will not. We will slowly start about the fundamentals and go towards the advanced. Maybe we will not be covering the advanced Python, because that's what not the goal of the course is. But we will ensure that all of you are equally equipped with all the fundamentals of Python as an instrument, while you become, or while you tend towards becoming, a data engineer. And finally, Snowflake. Snowflake has been in the industry for last 14 or 15 years now, and this is one of the most sought after skills. If you go to naukri.com, or if you go to Indeed, or maybe any other job sites, along with AWS, you will see that Snowflake is one of the most sought after data engineering tool sets that they are expecting from any data engineer today. So that's what we are going to focus. We're going to start learning Snowflake from the very basics. We're going to move towards the advanced. And while we do that, we are also going to focus on a Snowflake certification. I'm going to touch upon certification in the next few slides. What's your role as a data engineer, right? So I'm sure many of you would have done the homework before you landed up onto this meeting to know what the role of a data engineer is. But just in case you don't know, I'm going to run it very, very quickly for you. So we are going to learn about data extraction. We're going to learn about data transformation and loading. That's an ETL thing. But along with that, we are also going to learn about machine learning and a little bit of reporting. Now, we are not going to learn machine learning end to end. However, we are going to see, as data engineers, how do we prepare the data for machine learning engineers? Because machine learning engineers are completely dependent on data engineers. If you do not have a good data strategy, if you do not have a good data foundation in your enterprise, it becomes very, very difficult for your ML activities to be successful, right? So you have to know, you will be working very, very closely in as a data engineer in your industry experience. While you join the industry, you will be working very closely with your ML engineers, because they will set the expectations for you, and you have to feed the data to their systems, right? So that is what you will have to learn. You will learn about a little bit of visualizations, and you will also learn how to do all these things on the cloud. All of these will be executed on the cloud. And for us in this course, we are going to focus on AWS. Why AWS? The primary reason is AWS occupies or holds more than 60% of the market share today. The remaining 40% is shared among GCP, Azure, and rest of the cloud providers. But AWS alone covers more than 60% of the market share today. And that's the reason we are focusing on AWS. And if you look at number of job openings that are there in AWS in the market today, they are significantly higher than its competitors. The very next problem statement is how fast this technology landscape is, right? And if you can see, the growth for data engineers are the highest. And believe me, this is not a graph which is I have made it up, or the academy has made it up. This is from the the Gartner portal, and everybody agrees that the job of a data engineer is humongous. It's like, there's a lot of potential that you can unearth over there. And the most interesting story, and whatever we all look forward to as a techie, is like the CTC that we can arrive at after being a data engineer. And if you can see, these are the median salaries of a data engineer. For a 0 to 3 year, it is you know something around uh, 4 to 5 lakhs. And here I know, I don't think the audience is having 12 to 15 or 15 plus years of experience. Mostly they are all 0 to 3 years, or at the max 3 to 6 years. So with 3 to 6 years of experience, the median salary that you can expect is around 7 to 8 lakhs, or maybe nearing 12 10 lakhs, if you are really good, if you are having good variety of experiences and a depth of knowledge in SQL, Python, AWS, and Snowflake, right? So that's this slide is just to set the expectation that once you finish off this course, and once you finish off the certifications and all the uh, you know uh, the mini projects that we generally ask you to do it as a part of the course, it is expected that you will be interview ready, and during the interview, this is what you can expect. Okay, finally, so we are offering this course from Academy of Data. Academy of Data is a company which has been in the training space for close to 5 years now, based out of Bangalore. And we have our talent partners, Test Perform, ZClap, and Alfred Analytics. These are our talent platform, talent channels. Some of them are consultings, some of them are most of them, I think that, yeah, most of them are consulting organizations, and they offer jobs to you at the end of the course. They not only offer jobs, they also offer internships through our alliance partners. So just wanted to take a note of it, because I'm sure most of you would have this question in mind, that what after the course, right? And we are also in collaboration with TalendTechSolutions in Hyderabad. So TalendTech is one of our channel partners. I'm sure most of you would have, many of you would have been reached out by TalendTech as well. Benefits of the course. I think I've already spoken about it. Gentlemen, if you're not speaking, can I please request you to go on mute? Or if you have any questions, please put it up on the chat. I'm parallelly monitoring the chat, and I'll also allow you to, speak up. But just in the interest of time, I just wanted to, finish off the content which I am about to deliver. Uh, at the end of the course, you're going to get a certificate from the Academy of Data, but the certificate has some expectations from you, that you will have good amount of attendance. Now, I know the slide says 95% of attendance. I have been a student myself, and I understand having 95% of attendance is little difficult. However, if you have more than 90% of attendance, I am good. The reason is, if you are not attending, at least you should be watching the recording and coming back prepared while you come for the next class, right? There are few live projects which we will work together. You have to successfully complete all the live projects, because unless you complete the live projects, we as an academy, we will not get confidence that you are learning. The only way to for us to understand that yes, you are learning and your fundamentals are growing as we are moving forward in the course, is through the completion of the successful live projects. And finally, the Snowflake certification. 50% of this cost will be paid by Test Perform. As I said, Test Perform is one of our consulting partners. So people who generally are good, they are pulled up, or they are absorbed by Test Perform, because they are continuously hiring Snowflake developers in their organization. And once you go over there, uh, if you have successfully covered the course and if you successfully clear the interview, they generally they will pay for 50% of your certification cost in Snowflake. And as of today, you might have a rough question in mind that what is the number that we are talking about. Certification costs you around 16 to 17,000 additional. That includes all your GST. Yeah, that's in India. If you are attending the course from somewhere else, then it will be in that local currency. For that, I will request you to visit the Snowflake website. Course logistics. You will be added to our LMS. Here's a link to the LMS systems. You can go ahead and install it on your cell phone. You will be added to our LMS systems, 24-hour doubt clearing sessions, doubt clarification sessions. So if you ask a question, somebody from the academy is going to get in touch with you. Now, the promptness of response from the academy is great when it comes to weekend, because we are all weekend professionals. However, if you are asking a question on the weekday, you might have to wait for 24 hours. But yeah, we guarantee that within 24 hours, somebody from the academy is going to reach out to you, and you will be exposed to cloud labs. Okay. I'm going to stop the screen share and we will dive deeper into the course content. But before we do that, is there any question from any of the audience here? Happy to answer any questions. I can see we have 9 candidates this morning. Thank you very much again for joining this morning with us. And we will dive deep into the course content. I'm taking the silence as a no at this point of time, but yeah, let's go ahead and start understanding the course content to a greater detail, right? Okay, the course expects you to have a prerequisites. What are the prerequisites that the course expects? If you have a good understanding of database architectures, a basic understanding of cloud computing, introduction to Python programming, and introduction to SQL. Now, these are all good to have prerequisites. If you have it, it becomes easier for you to learn AWS and Snowflake and for me to teach. However, in my experience with the last 4 or 5 batches out here, I have seen there are many candidates who are not from IT background, or maybe who are from IT background. However, they do not have these skill sets. They might have worked on something else. Right? And they want to, there are many people who are from testing background, who are manual testers or automation testers today, who wants to make a career shift to data engineering, and they generally prefer our course. Now, when I talk to them, they do not have this understanding. However, it becomes easier for me to teach them because they are from IT. At the same time, we have management graduates, or we have um, you know people from various different backgrounds who are willing to move to IT, and they do not have this background. So for this, we have crash courses which are included as a part of this bundle, and we can achieve it together. So even if you are very new to this, we will go through all the fundamentals, and the first 3 to 4 weeks are basically considered to be fundamental classes. So that is where We will dive deep into each of these subjects, and we will ensure that the entire class is at a certain level of maturity when it comes to fundamentals before we start our journey with the advanced part, which is learning AWS and Snowflake. Okay, introduction to AWS. So what are we going to learn? I'm just going to move from left to right. So I've put together certain slides or certain services in AWS, uh, which we which we will cover. Now, there's too much on the slides, but Aurora, RDS, DynamoDB, DocumentDB, Elastic Cache, Redshift. This entire first six, right? These are all the database services. Are we going to learn all of them? No, there's no point learning in all of them. But we will pick the most important two here. The first one is RDS. Yes, we are going to learn RDS. And the second one, Redshift. Why did we choose Redshift? Because Redshift is a competitor to Snowflake, and it is always necessary that you learn a competitor technology to Snowflake because that's what the interviewer is going to expect. I have seen with my 7 or 8 years with Snowflake, generally when you appear at a Snowflake interview, they generally expect you to know a little bit of Redshift because it helps you to understand the benefits of Snowflake because there are few shortcomings in Redshift. So if you know a technology which is having a little bit of shortcoming, then it is easier to appreciate the next one. We're going to learn about EMRs. Yes, because EMR is data processing or a big data processing system. We are going to learn about EMR in this course. And finally, we will also learn about Amazon QuickSight because QuickSight is a data visualization tool, and the data engineering story is incomplete if you are not a visual storyteller. So at the end of the course, when you walk out, you will not be data engineers alone. I would sincerely focus on an additional skill set, which is visual storytelling. So I want all of you to be very, very good visual storytellers. Now, I know that's not a primary expectation from a data engineer, but I'll tell you, if you are a visual storyteller, if you can describe, if you can, talk, if you can, maybe explain your data set to somebody else in a visual manner, it creates a lot of impact to your customers, to your interviewers, to anybody, right? See, right now I'm presenting to you. I have something visual which is being presented to you. It creates an impact in a way you connect with the audience. Okay, so now we looked at the AWS services. Now let's also look at what the story around whatever we are going to learn, right? So we are going to learn about relational databases and we are going to learn about non-relational databases. Here we start and we transition to non-relational databases. A Redshift is a non-relational database because you cannot enforce relationships in Redshift. However, logical relationships can be established. So there can be a point where people can say that hey, Redshift is also a relational database. Kind of yes and no both, because it doesn't you cannot enforce physical relationships. Well, we are also going to learn a little bit of machine learning, though the course is not absolutely about machine learning, but knowing a little bit of machine learning gives you the additional edge while you walk into the industry because you will be able to. Pirja, if you are not speaking, maybe you can please. Raja, I think so. Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much. Okay. So yeah, we are going to learn a little bit of machine learning, and from there we are going to learn data warehousing. Data warehousing, understanding about facts, dimensions, how to build a warehouse, how to play around with a warehouse is something which is very, very important. And we will all do that together. Log analytics, again, knowledge about log analytics is important for having the capability to initiate a conversation. However, we are not here to be log analytics expert, but we will learn log analytics. Big data processing, this is going to be the bread and butter. because EMR is something which we're going to learn, EMR and Glue, and at the same time we are also going to learn big data processing in Snowflake, right? And Snowflake is a dedicated module. It it's like, close to 1.5 months we're going to rip, which are going to live with Snowflake, and we are going to learn all the nuts and bolts of how you can do big data processing in Snowflake. Fair enough. What next? Snowflake architecture. For those of you who have little interest in Snowflake or have been looking at Snowflake in different shape and format, I'm sure you would have looked at this architecture. It's a very state-of-the-art patented architecture. I have been living with this architecture for 7 and 8 years now. Now, the good thing about the architecture is that the compute and the storage are disconnected. That means that this first circle in the middle, right, on my mouse over, the first circle in the middle, this is the storage layer. The middle layer is the compute layer, and on the top of it, you have the metadata layer, or which is the intelligent layer. Now, these these are the layers which we are going to learn in detail. And while we learn, we are going to focus on AWS, because Snowflake as a platform can be hosted on all the platforms or on the CSPs, cloud service providers. Now, can we learn this on all the cloud service providers? Yes, we can, but not in a 4 months course. It is going to take years for you to learn. But Snowflake as a platform, if you learn how Snowflake looks like or how to play around with Snowflake in any one of the platforms today, it is very similar on the other plans. Rather, there is no difference when it comes to Snowflake. It is only a difference of integrations with that cloud service provider services, right? So we are going to focus on AWS, because while we arrive at the Snowflake module, we would have already learned a good amount of AWS, right? So it gives us a lot of edge if we are moving to Snowflake with that knowledge, so that we know how we can integrate different AWS services with Snowflake. It's a very traditional ETL architecture, right? If I move from left to right, so you have your data sources. I'm not going to deep dive into this, but this is just to understand, give you uh, a fair amount of understanding about what you should expect once we start learning, right? It starts with data sources on the left. Then we will learn about data integrations. We will learn about data transformations, ELTs and ETLs of the world. We will learn about normalization and aggregation. We will learn how to build a data warehouse, how to build data marts, how to take backups. We will learn about analytics, because analytics is something which has to be done, right? If you are not analyzing the data which you have transformed, then why are you at all transforming it? The end result of transformation is to do analytics. And finally, we will have our data consumers, which is ad hoc reporting. You remember we spoke about QuickSight. Amazon QuickSight is one of those platforms which we will use to uh, to visualize our data. That's operational reporting or ad hoc analysis. Now, in relation to this particular diagram, we will do all of it in Snowflake, because Snowflake is no longer a data warehouse today. It's a platform. It's a true data platform. And we're going to do all of it, whatever we learned in the previous slide here. So we're going to look at our data sources. We're going to learn about how to stream data into Snowflake. We're going to learn how to build a data warehouse, a data lake. We're going to see how we can do data engineering. That's the transformation part, writing stored procedures in Snowflake, stored procedures in SQL and Python. We're going to learn about data exchange. We're not going to build data applications, because that's something which is a very advanced to Snowflake. But we will see, what is a data application. At least that part we will definitely look at it. And data science, very similar to whatever we will do in data applications. We're going to do a very introductory understanding about data science in Snowflake, because I want all of you to be conversation ready. You may not have the skill sets to go ahead and start working as a data scientist, because that's not the goal of this course. And as beginner to data engineering, if you try to focus on multiple things together, finally you will not be able to focus on anything, right? So take one piece at a time. Let's cover up data engineering, have some experience for 2 to 3 years in data engineering, and then maybe you can move to data science. But still, I want you to have some conversational readiness on data science, and that is the reason I've included data science as a part of your course, where we will have a little bit of understanding about what data science is. We just spoke about it: data warehousing, data engineering, data lake, applications, exchange, and data science. All of this is Snowflake. And that is the primary reason why Snowflake is catching up the market. And believe me, if you are a Snowflake learner today, I mean, truly learn it today, not just knowing what is Snowflake, but if you have, the amount of exposure that we will give it to you through live projects, if you successfully finish all of it, you will be absolutely ready for your certification and your interviews. And I'm telling you, you don't have to. It's like, if you have not done your homework after I finish in another 15-20 minutes, please go ahead and look at the number of job openings that you have on Indeed or Naukri.com, or Found It or something like that. You will be overwhelmed by the number of opportunities that you have. So join us and go and grab that opportunity. Right. It's a very common slide for the programmers in the room. I mean, generally we have non-programmers in the room, but there's a possibility that we can have programmers in the room. That is the reason I put together this slide. They ask that, hey, trainer, how do we use Snowflake? The first is we will have Snowflake notebooks. Snowflake has recently launched notebooks. We will learn about how to play with Snowflake notebooks. We will learn Jupyter notebooks, and we will also use VS Code. We will learn a little bit of SNOWPARK Container Services and SNOWPARK API. We will learn about virtual warehouses, SNOWPARK ML API. Again, this is for the data science students. We generally cover SNOWPARK ML API during our data science course, but in this course, we will definitely give you a glimpse of it. Okay, so we are at 7:34. Now, I generally take close to 10 minutes to walk you through a sample use case that I have built. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to ingest data files into S3. Now, what is S3? S3 is one of the data services in AWS, which helps you to store your files. It's just a simple service, S3 service, which is going to give you a file system where you can upload and store your files. So what we're going to do is we're going to upload certain files from our local machine to S3, and we are going to build an integration with Snowflake, because see, Snowflake is installed on, so generally the way the Snowflake company sells Snowflake as a SaaS solution is installed on top of AWS. However, they don't talk to each other. To make them talk to each other, we have to create a bridge, and we are going to create that bridge in the term of a Snowflake storage integration. So storage integration is the concept which is acting like a bridge here. So a bridge between your AWS S3 and Snowflake. Now, what happens is this particular files, whatever we have uploaded to Snowflake, we are going to, or whatever we have uploaded to S3 is going to be pushed into your Snowflake table. How we are going to do that? We will see that in action. We will build some live streaming, which is pipe streaming. And all these files which we will be uploading on our S3 will be going through this pipe, which is, it's, so what's a pipe? A pipe is nothing but a real life pipe. You can think about it, a real life pipe with two ends. At one end, files are getting ingested, and on the other end, the ingested files are going to be loaded onto a table, right? That's what we are going to see in action. And once the table is loaded, we will also build Streamlit UI. So Streamlit is a visualization tool. You can build some UIs in Streamlit, and that's what we are going to see how. So along with your quick site, we will also see a little bit of Streamlit, and we will be able to learn a little bit of Streamlit as well. Because knowing Streamlit gives you an edge over other candidates when you appear at a data engineering interview with Snowflake. Give me a moment. I'm going to stop the screen share and I'm going to play that video for you. It's a recorded video. I'm going to quickly play it just to give you a glimpse about these are the type of applications that we are going to build while we work together. There you go. I'm sharing my, yes. I hope you can see my screen and I'm going to play the video. So I'm going to pause it. So this is what you see is Amazon S3. Yeah. We're going to IAM. What are we going to do in IAM? So before we get into IAM, let me speak about a little bit of IAM. IAM is identity and access management. See, when we build cloud systems, one of the most important thing is access control. And this is what we are going to build here in the next 1 or 2 minutes. We're going to build a policy which defines the access and which we're going to build a role which is going to access the policy. So the role is attached to a policy. If you are not understanding this, please do not worry. This is something which we're going to learn in detail while we start the course, right? But, just to get a glimpse of what kind of things we will do in the course, this is the, a recording of it. We are going to build a policy out here, Snowflake access policy. I'll go to the JSON and this is the policy description. Put object, get object. These are all the permissions that we generally give or that we have given here to the policy to work with our AWS bucket. Now, at this point of time, what I'm highlighting is the bucket. So within your S3 service, we have created one bucket. The bucket name is rs.demo. So if you go to S3 right at this point of time, let me open it. So there is a bucket called rs.demo. There can be multiple buckets. rs.demo is one of the buckets. Within that, I have a folder called send to Snowflake. And this is where I'm going to upload all the files, which I want to send to Snowflake. Yeah. Now, I'm going to roles. I've created a Snowflake role and I've attached that Snowflake role to my policy. So in the previous section, we just created a policy and here we are creating a role and attaching these two. Right? So that's the AWS user. Now it's time for us to go to Snowflake. So this is the editor. This is the Snowflake editor, Snowsite, we call it. As you can see, we are at, West Oregon, and we are going to get started with Snowpipe streaming. First, we are going to create the storage integration. If you remember, we spoke about a bridge, and this is what the bridge is, storage integration. Okay. So we're going to create the storage integration and the storage integration between Snowflake and our AWS bucket that we just created, which is uh, rs.demo, and within that, the folder called send to Snowflake. If I go and describe the storage integration within Snowflake, I'm going to get the um, AWS ARN mentioned out there. You can see the AWS user ARN and the role ARN all mentioned out there. So that means the integration between Snowflake and AWS has already been created. Now we are adding external IDs. These are the three keys with which the integration is created. At this point of time, we are going to create a table, a simple database table. Now, for those of you who do not know, very new to databases, a table is just a container within your database. It's a bunch of rows and columns which can be put together in one object called tables. So we have created a table, and that is where we are going to load the data. What data? It's a housing data. If you go to Kaggle, I'm sure you would have heard about Kaggle. Kaggle is a competitive website where you get a lot of free data sets for a lot of competitions. So I just logged into Kaggle and I've just borrowed a free data set. This point of time, we're creating a stage. Now, what is a stage? A stage is nothing but a pointer to your S3 storage. So we're creating an external stage out here because Snowflake, to understand that which is the place from where I need to pull the files from S3, I need to create a stage. And this is the stage where we are creating. So the stage knows where the files are in AWS, right? Now there's a pipe. We're creating the pipe. As I said, what is the pipe? At one end of the pipe, data files are ingested, and on the other end of the pipe, the data files are loaded onto Snowflake. So this is where the pipe has been created. Now at this point of time, the pipe is invalid. The reason is the pipe has just been created. Now I'm going to set the pipe to true. And the moment is, you see, stopped stage, drop. The stage has been dropped, right? Now I'm going to recreate it. The pipe is going to again come live into action. Snow pipe has been recreated here. If I do system status for the pipe, now it is running. If I go to my data table, at this point of time, the table is not having any data. So what am I going to do? I'm going to upload few files manually from my local machine. I'll go to add files, upload, and I'm going to add few files. Now, the first file is having 50 records, the second file is having 300 records, and the third file is having little more records, around 2000. So right now I have already uploaded my file. And this is all automatic, right? The moment I upload the file, the table is going to be populated. So, and it uses a command called copy history in Snowflake. So don't worry, it is going to, we are going to again learn all of it while we learn our Snowflake. This is, this is a just an audit log of what has been processed. And as you can see, this file, whatever the file that we had sent, it has already been processed. So if I go and select housing data, you will see only 49 records have been processed. There were two records for 49, right? That was for the previous, when I was trying it out for the previous execution. Now, if I upload the next file, which is the 300th file, you will see that we have also uploaded 300, yes, this is where you can see the last file which was uploaded is the 300 file. The system has picked it up and it has started loading, and I think it would have loaded by now. Let's go ahead and start selecting the data. Yes, and you can see total of another 300 records which have been added to the previous 49, 299 plus this, the first record. So one is the header record. The header record is not recorded, is not loaded. Fine, fair enough. So it's going to load a few more files. I'm not going to waste time out there. Let me fast forward a little bit. So this is what a Streamlit UI will look like. A Streamlit, you can build Streamlit visualizations in Snowflake. And the beauty of it is all this code are written in Python, right? I'm going to pause, yeah, I'll pause a little bit out here. So you can see on the left-hand side, here is your Python window where you can write all your Python code, which is required for your visualization. And on the right-hand side, the visual editor will pop up. So this is happening all within Streamlit, and this is very, very interesting and very, very sought after skill today, because you don't have to use Node.js or React, or you don't have to learn any other reporting tool like Tableaus or ClickViews of the world. You can do all of that in Streamlit today within Snowflake, and that is an added advantage. If you are learning Snowflake, you will automatically become visualization engineers, being a data engineer at your core, right? So this is something which we are going to learn, right? So yeah, I'm going to pause the video out here, just in the interest of time, because I know it's a Saturday early morning, 7:45. So what next? Before I open the forum for questions and answers, I want to take you through the journey of all the modules that we are going to cover. Yeah, this is very, very important. I'm sure all of you must have this question in mind that, is there a course structure? Can you show me, what are the things that we're going to learn? So that's what I'm going to pull up on the screen. Give me a moment. I'm just opening an Excel spreadsheet, and the Excel spreadsheet will be there before you in few seconds. There you go. This is the Excel spreadsheet, and this is something which we are going to live with for almost 4 months. So the prerequisites are Python and fundamentals. Generally, we call it 2 weeks, but I have seen based on my experience, it goes up to 4 weeks, and we are okay with that. As long as the fundamentals are clear, we are absolutely happy to invest close to a month on building the fundamentals. But yes, it depends on the maturity of the students as well. If the students are matured and if we have a crowd where people are already aware of it, then it might be a little faster, but just in case it is not, we can extend up to 4 weeks as well. Now, the next 4 weeks goes in learning AWS. This is where we are going to learn about EC2, we are going to learn about AWS CAI, CLI, IAM policies. We're going to learn about EMR, Glue, Redshift, Athena, QuickSight. This is something which we're going to learn in AWS. Now, at this point of time, it is time for a real world project, because learning AWS is not just learning. We have to implement it. Now, I know during the course of during the course, you will always be, it's like, you will be playing around with a lot of AWS labs. However, it is very, very important to tie all of it together and create a story around it, right? As I was saying, being an effective storyteller is something which you should always aspire for. Even I am learning today how to uh, be a better storyteller. I do a lot of storytelling, but there's always scope of improvement, and you should always look for it. Whether you are a data engineer, data scientist, or maybe a data analyst, storytelling is something which is very, very important. Now, at the end of close to the 1.5 months, or or on the second month, we are all equipped to learn Snowflake, because if you are not comfortable with Python and SQL or AWS features, there's no point going to Snowflake, right? So that is why the order of learning is very important out here. And then once we start learning Snowflake, we are going to open up all the boxes of Snowflake that we spoke about. We're going to learn about data cloud introduction. We're going to talk about Snowflake architecture, loading, batch loading, real-time loading. We're going to build a data lake. We're going to process structured and unstructured data. We're going to look at how data sharing and replication works. We are going to look at data security governance. Finally, we are going to do a lot of SNOWPARK code. SNOWPARK is the new machine, or the new engine for doing your data engineering in Snowflake. And when you are coming out of a batch which is finishing in 2024, uh, it is very much expected that this group is going to be learned about Snowpark, because Snowpark was not there when I started the course, right? It has newly been introduced, and so we have incorporated Snowpark into the course, and we're going to learn about Snowpark. Finally, we are going to get a good introduction to Gen AI and machine learning, which is definitely required. And then at the end of the course, we have a real world project, which is going to be comprising of both your AWS and Snowflake, right? You have to learn both AWS and Snowflake to be ready to do that real world course. And that is very similar to a kind of a capstone project. We generally call it a capstone project. I'm going to be there as your guide. All of you will be working on a capstone project, and that project generally takes 2 weeks for all the participants. So believe me, guys, if you are doing all those lab exercises and the capstone project along with me, I'm sure you are going to be interview ready. It is, see, it's not a promise. This is what we have been delivering for the last uh, maybe uh, 2 3 years now, because we take these projects and assignments very, very seriously. Because if you don't do it, I'll not proceed further. It is only when you finish it I'm going to proceed further. And this is the reason all our talent partners are having so much of confidence on us, that anybody who comes out of our course and we call it that, yes, this person is certified, or this person is qualified enough to start their industry life, they believes in us. And we do not want to we do not want to reduce the level of confidence that they have on us. Okay, so this is how the 4 weeks period is shaped up. And this brings us to the end of the presentation on a Saturday morning. Okay, So any questions from anybody, you can type it on the chat, or you can, unmute yourself and we can all talk. I'm going to stop the screen share for a minute and yeah, opening the forum for any questions. While you are thinking about your questions, I'm going to put a quick Google form on the um, Zoom chat. I would request all the people who have joined here to please go ahead and fill in the Google form before you log off. Yeah, here's the Google form. Please go ahead and click it and fill it up. And yeah, feel free to ask any questions if you have. Any questions about um, the offerings of the course, any questions about payment structure, if you have something, which I don't think I am qualified enough to talk about the payment structure because I work as a trainer in this particular academy. Somebody from the academy, I think Prithvi is the right person to talk about the payment structure. They will definitely get in touch with you. But apart from the payment structure, if you have any questions about the content, about the job opening, about the way of delivery, about the labs, about the projects, anything apart from the compensation or the fees of the course, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot. I'm here to answer it for you. I know the first question always takes a little bit of time. That becomes the icebreaker. But once the first question is asked, then the others also open up.
Hey, this is Paddy. So just asking the freshest point of view. Okay.
Yes, please.
So you have showed a demo, right? So
Yes.
to insert some data. So why can't we store in the database? Why we need this Snowflake and AWS? Maybe if we can explain, right? Everyone will understand why this is.
100%. See, um, the demo that I showed it to you, that is just to give you a glimpse about what you can expect in the course. However, if you remember when I was talking about the AWS services that we are going to learn, we will definitely learn how to load data into a database. It is not that we are not going to learn it. However, because we are focusing on a course which is going to give you an exposure or a good amount of control on Snowflake and AWS, this is what is our end result. So at the end of the course, this is what we are going to do. But we will also learn basics of databases. We are going to create a very basic MySQL database on Amazon RDS on the cloud. We're going to learn it. We're going to store the data out there. However, learning Snowflake is the next level of learning databases. Snowflake is also a database. But if you are learning Snowflake, that means you are job ready because databases have been there in the industry for the last 25 years or 30 years, or maybe more than that, if I'm right. But Snowflake is the most sought after skills because you cannot process whatever you can do in Snowflake. Not everything is possible in your databases. Can you store terabytes of or petabytes of data, petabyte scale data on databases? No, you cannot. That is where Snowflake comes into the picture. So you have to learn Snowflake to be industry ready, as to be platform ready, but your knowledge of databases are going to be your fundamentals. So if you remember in the beginning of the course itself, or I spoke about somewhere about prerequisites, knowledge about database architectures, knowledge about SQL, that is something which is irreplaceable. We have to learn it because you cannot move to Snowflake without having those fundamentals, right? So getting a good knowledge about databases, getting a good knowledge about SQL, getting a good knowledge of database architecture is fundamental to learning Snowflake. Snowflake, both as a Snowflake as a data platform and Snowflake as a data warehouse. So we're going to look at Snowflake from both the angles. I hope that answers your question, buddy. Any questions
Yeah,
from
makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah.
any other interesting questions in these lines from anybody else? No? Okay. So there's a Google form which I have put on the chat link on Zoom. I would sincerely request you to go ahead and fill up that form before you log off. We're at 7:57. We will be here for another 3 more minutes. So if you do not have any questions, if you have already filled up the Google form, I'm happy to take your leave. But just in case, any last moment questions, if you have, please feel free to shoot. Any questions that popping up? Don't hold on to yourself. There's nothing called a bad question. Feel free to ask. I'm going to help my best to satisfy your.
Yeah, especially people from non-IDB background, they may have a lot of questions. They may feel shy to ask the question. Don't feel shy, guys. Especially, we need to understand, right? Before you join the course, you should know why we are taking this course. So without that, it's no point, right?
There's a question from
Yeah.
Rishabh to everyone. What is the timing of the course? Yes, it is going to be 3 hours on every Saturday and Sunday morning. We generally start by 7:30. We'll generally start by 7:30. Now, I'm very flexible. If the batch wants that it's going to be at 7, if the batch wants if it is going to be 8, we can always, arrive at a consensus and then we can start. But yeah, we generally start between 7 to 8 and it's 3 hours per day. Uh, so per week, it is a designated hour, 6 hours of designated learning. Thank you, Rishabh, for asking that. I'm already a working professional. How much amount of work is required from our end? Just want to know. Okay. So if you are a working professional, see, you have to take time out on a regular basis to ensure that you grab all the concepts that are taught here, you finish up all the labs. It is going to be difficult, but yes, if you are giving that time for the next 4 months, I am sure you will be able to accomplish the objective with which you are investing on the course. This course is an investment. Absolutely. You are paying and this is an investment for you. Now, at the end of the investment, you will definitely look for some return. Now, if you are having a strong focus on the return that you want to achieve, you have to spend time, Rishabh. So, on an average, what I can tell you, during the means during the time of course delivery and the lab work, close to 5 to 6 hours of time on a weekly basis is definitely required. A little more, around 10 hours on a weekly basis is required when you do the mini projects, the course, the live projects or the mini projects that we call, or the capsule project, whatever you name it. That time the amount of effort that you have to put in increases a little bit because they are not easy. You have to learn a little bit, you have to do a research a little bit, you will have a lot of doubts, you will have to speak to me or you will have to speak to any other instructors to get assistance. That is the point of time which you will have to spend a little more hours, around 10 hours per week. Otherwise, on a weekly basis, whenever I am delivering the course and you are just practicing the labs and grasping the concepts, to go through the course content which is delivered on Saturday, Sunday, again during the weekdays, it takes around 5 to 6 hours. That's what my experience for the last 5 or 6 batches tells me, and that's what the students also tells me. 5 to 6 hours on a weekly basis is something which you should definitely keep aside to get the best out of this investment. And to help working professionals like you, Rishabh, we generally conduct this course on Saturday, Sundays. So Monday to Friday, I know it's very difficult for you. It is difficult for all of us because at the end of the day, we are all weekend professionals, right? So yeah, Saturday, Sunday morning is something which we work. Is it compulsory to do additional certifications in AWS? Not at all, Srinivas. See, what is a certification? Certification is a validation of your learning. When you talk about Academy of Data, we are going to give you a certificate of completion, 100%. However, an AWS certification at the end, which is an AWS Cloud Practitioner certification, maybe if you are very new to the industry, you can also attempt a little, a higher grade of certification if you are prepared. What is this certification going to do? This certification is going to act as a validation when you appear in an interview. So it is not a gateway to success. It is just one of the gateways to success. So if you are appearing in an interview wherein, like Srinivas, like Rishabh, there are 10 other candidates who are equally skilled, who are claiming that I know AWS. Now, during an interview, it becomes very difficult for the interviewer to really assess the the confidence that you are showing, right, or the skill sets that you are bringing to the table. Not everything can be assessed within an hour of interview. That is where the certification does a trick. If there are one or two people within that group of people or group of attendees who are certified, it gives them that edge to qualify for the interview because they have already certified, they have been certified by the product. Very similar to your AWS certification, we generally do not recommend an AWS certification for at the starting itself, because if you know Snowflake, it is if you because Snowflake certification also has a little bit of AWS element in it. So whatever the AWS service integrations which are required to learn and know Snowflake, you will anyway learn that, and you will be attempting this answering these questions during your Snowflake certification as well. So we generally recommend that go ahead with the Snowflake certification first, and then if you have time and if you have more interest to be certified, go ahead and get yourself AWS certified. But yeah, it is not compulsory. However, your chances of qualifying in a good interview increases with certification. And that is not just with AWS or Snowflake certification. It is even with the Python certification. If you want to go ahead, there are a lot of certifications in Python. Python.org has few certifications as well. So we can talk a lot of certifications, but yes, no certification in the world is mandatory. Certifications are just additional qualifiers for you to be successful. And at the end of the day, as an academy, we want you to be successful. Hence, we recommend you to be a certified professional. We are at 8:05. I can stay back and answer many more questions from you, but just in case you want to, if you want to step out, please go ahead and step out. But before that, fill in the form, fill in the Google form that I've given it to you. Um, and yeah, thank you very much for attending. If you don't have any questions, you're happy to take your leave and have a wonderful weekend. Uh, Hope to see you guys onboarded onto the batch. Once we start learning and complete the course, will the recording access be with us or it is a limited time? It is a lifelong access. All the recordings will be there with you for lifelong. Okay. But yeah, we sincerely request you to attend the live classes. See, it's like, if you do not attend the live classes, if you do not interact with your trainer, or if you do not interact with your fellow learners, It is like as good as learning a YouTube video. Why would you join a live instructor-led training if you are not attending live? I know sometimes it becomes a little difficult. You might be on a business trip where you are not able to attend a live class. So those are one-off scenarios. I agree. Even we did it when we were learning, but it is strongly suggested that please attend the live sessions because those interactions makes a lot of difference. Okay. Any more questions before before we wind up for the day? No? Okay, fair enough. We're at 8 to 7. Thank you very much for joining. You have been a lovely audience, and thank you again for taking your time out early in the morning at 7 o'clock on a Saturday. And hope to see you guys onboarded very, very soon. Okay, thank you very much. Bye bye.